Osiyo Family! Welcome back to another episode of Research Edition with your host here, Danny. I am your host for Research Edition. For Research Edition, this is our first episode where you are getting to see me speak and go through my study process. So I've got a lot of notes. I've always gotten a lot of notes. But I just want to go over I've got a lot of glare going on, so let me try to change the mood. Hey! So I just wanted to go over with you in this video my study process, basics of studying, the things that it will take to be able to conduct and even begin research, like data collecting for a research, even understanding what do I want to do research on. All of that starts and begins in what you're studying, what knowledge are you aware of, and how open-minded and curious are you willing to get. You know, in the research process, a lot of the time we can become surprised on how things turn out, on what we end up discovering, and we want to make sure that our biases are in check. So we will get into all of that in our Research Edition episode for today. Stay tuned. We will be going over my study process. So before we get into any details on what research is, or the methodologies, there are many, and data collecting, there's a lot out there. We want to go over what it takes. What do you need to do to prepare yourself to be successful, and what will I use to measure success, right? Because research can look a lot of different ways, and we may not cover all of the ways you can engage in research on this channel. However, we will go over how does research benefit your life, and how does having a solid study method that works for you benefit your research process. So again, my name is Danny, and welcome to Teatime.beauty. Okay, so when it comes to study habits, I do want to mention that it all starts with within. So what does your study space feel like? What do you want it to smell like? What is the ambiance you want to create? What kind of motivation and encouragement do you want to have access to in the moments when in your study environment you get distracted? Or maybe something in your external or even in your internal distracts you, or maybe even deters you from the act of studying. Maybe even there's a blockage in the input of information you're trying to receive. Whatever may come up that would interrupt your goal in studying, right? Whatever you told yourself that's going to look like, whatever intention you set for yourself, what would your environment need to keep you on track? So for me, what is the color you see in this room the most? Pink, purple, we've got some yellows, and I've got purple in my room. Purple is a beautiful color I really enjoy. I've got plants, I've got lights. Let's see if I could show you my little plant over there. I'll go get it. So I've got my plant here. I need to water it, but this baby is the only one that has survived in the 2 years that I have lived in my new state. It is a bit difficult with understanding how to water indoor plants when you move to another climate. And so this plant is just a beautiful reminder to me that, you know what, how often have I been spending in this room? Because when I'm studying, I'm very much aware of my plant. But when I'm not in this room and when I'm not studying, this plant has a higher probability of getting neglected. And so plants do love it when you speak to it, when it has attention. Plants are alive. Plants are alive. And so if you want plants in your room, that is one way that you can set up your environment to be able to have a study process that you can commit to. All right, let's go to the next things. All right, so for our next thing, art. Is there art around in the room? You know how when you were younger and you did art projects and you wanted your family members to put it up on their walls or on their refrigerator? You just wanted to know that the things that you created mattered and other people appreciated it, even just a little bit, because you sure appreciated it. And you wanted to share it with others. So what in your study environment can you mark of yours? What did you create that you are proud of, that inspires you, that is a reminder for you of your goals and of the intentions you set, right? And intentions and goals, while they are different, you can always gain and pull inspiration and direction from both. So something that I have that I created, and this is inspiration I had from my other YouTuber that I really love, Enough by MNT. Marissa, it has a beautiful YouTube channel and she has an amazing, phenomenal idea, inspiration, passion, mission to be able to reuse, recycle things as art. And so this is actually created from an old U-Haul box. So I just took, I cut off one of the sides when I moved of one of the U-Haul boxes I still had around, and I painted it and I painted it and I just decorated it with different stickers. And this is the first thing that I created for Teatime.beauty. So it wasn't a video, it wasn't a recording, it was something I created because someone else inspired me and I chose to inspire myself. And so I put pictures up of me, I put pictures up of a watercolor painting I did in the past, and this is just something I have that I leave by my plant. And so whenever I just maybe get a little bit, I just need time to look away from the things I'm reading, when I look up and I look around my walls, when I look around my room, I can be able to be inspired. And looking at this is way better than scrolling on social media or watching TV, right? So there's no TV in this room. But yeah, have something that inspires you in your room. Have something you created that brings you joy. And that might help you with staying dedicated and committed to your study process. All right, let's go to another thing. Okay, so now for our next thing. If you have a pet, sometimes they might want to cuddle and snuggle with you. So if you have a specific space for them in your study space, they might want to snuggle near you. If you don't leave a space for them, like my kitty cat does, he will just crawl all over my, well, and he might do this anyway, but he might crawl all over my desk and sniff everything and just be in the way. He's in the way when he's doing that. And that's distracting. But if I have his chair next to me and he is still near me and he still gets to see me and he still gets to be near me and he still gets attention from me, then he will be okay. And then whenever I just need a little break, I can pet him. And then I can put him right back where I got him. All right. And so now that we've gone over a few things in our environment, again, you see I'm near a window, so when there is sunlight, I will be able to get it when I need something to smell good. I can light a candle, I can light an incense. I usually have an air purifier in here as well, and so any time that it might get a little bit too if smells get a little bit too empowering, I can always have that running. And the other thing, of course, hence my name, again, like and subscribe, please. If you haven't, I would love for you to join my journey and join the community I am building. So back to study processes. Of course, I will always say, have something to drink. So here is a beautiful teacup I do have. And always make sure that you are refilling. I do like loose leaf tea, and so something I use is a tea strainer. So I dump my tea in here, and then I put it in the cup, and then I pour my hot water. Let it steep. And there is a lid. I just don't have it right now, but there is a lid that goes on top of this. So when you're steaming and steeping your tea. But loose leaf tea has so many benefits. And hey, it's a little bit different than water, and it's not soda. And again, it has so many benefits. You want to give yourself as many nutrients, as many energy boosters as you can when you are aiming to commit to a study process. It takes time. It takes time. Studying is a process that looks different for everybody. So while one person might want to take many 15-minute breaks in each hour or in between each few hours, some people like to spend a few hours, and other than bathroom breaks or refilling drinks or getting a snack, they're not taking a break until a few hours. And so wherever you are on the spectrum and whatever your project requires, right? So when you're thinking of studying, you can always consider what is the amount of effort, energy, time, resources, money, whatever it needs, whatever it takes to get this project up and going. How much, what's the cost, right? How much is this going to take? Knowing that beforehand will allow you to set yourself up to create a strategy that will benefit your execution, right? So if I have a project, which I do for Teatime.beauty, my project is research edition. So how am I going to lay out this program? Well, how have I prepared myself to transition from the idea phase to the final product? Do I know what the final product needs to look like based on what this idea, what the message is for this idea, right? So for research edition, I really want to get a message across. That's one of my biggest main priorities. We all need support when we are engaging in research. There is always a moment where we need to be on our own, to look over information, to dissect it, to make it make sense for us. And then there's a time where we need to be in community, to, in a group setting, critically think and dissect through what this information is and what it's telling us, right? All of our lifestyles shape how we input, right? Input is information we are taking in, right? So again, I want to learn, this is one of my goals for Teatime Beauty. I want to learn how to be comfortable with giving definitions. A lot of the time in research, it's so important to conceptualize what we're talking about. We always need to understand what is the concept we're going over in detail, because when I say one concept and what comes to mind could be completely separate from someone else, and we both could have the same credentials, or we both can have the same level of understanding on paper, but because of experience, age, lifestyle, our environment, our community, all of that shapes how we receive input. We all do that differently, right? And that's the beauty. That's why we do research. So we can be able to understand out of each group, right? Out of each sector that we're trying to study, out of each population, what is this experience like? And what does it tell us? What does it tell me? What does it tell you? What does it tell them? Right? And then what do we do with it? Who cares? And a lot of what research is, a lot of what you will uncover in this study process is more reasons to either continue your process because you're finding data that is confirming your initial beliefs or assumptions, or you find out, wow, there is so much information literally that goes against what I initially thought, but hey, now I know. Again, who cares, and what are we going to do about it? We can all be looking at the same data set and get completely different outcomes, right? And because of that, it's important that we understand about research processes, about methodologies, about study processes, about what information is valid to cite as a source, credible sources versus invalid sources where you can use it as a starting point to work through an idea or get opinion-based input. But when it comes down to what you're going to do with your data, what you're going to do with your findings, that's where you start to uncover, well, I actually want to be more factual, or I do want to be more testimonial based, or I do want to really go based off of historical numbers and what the past has shown us. I don't want to deal with things that are still in the works and are not in its final stage of testing. Like, there are so many things, and if you are still following me and understanding me, I applaud you. And if you have heard some things that you've never heard before, please stick around. I plan on doing many different types of videos going over these things, these concepts, these definitions, these methodologies, and even using real life research that is going on right now and even on the federal level to be able to understand, why does this matter to me and why does this matter to my community? So thank you so much for watching, joining me on this journey. And again, my name is Dani, and these are some things that I've done to help me in my study process.
it. Believe it, receive it, achieve it. Believe it, receive it, achieve it. All things are possible. All things are possible. All things are possible. All things are possible. Look at all the possibilities.